Hello and happy 4th of July. Are you guys all having a good Independence Day? Great, because I'm planning on ruining it for you by reviewing Jurassic Thunder, a god-awful B-movie centered around weaponized dinosaurs, zombies, warlords, and Donald Trump. Can't get any better than that. I actually reacted to the trailer of Jurassic Thunder with my dog, who still hates me for putting him through that. But I highly recommend that you watch that video before continuing this one. It's not like you need to watch it to understand this video at all. In fact, it's really not relevant at all. But, you watching that video is just another view towards that video, and, that's always good for me. Anyways, let's continue. So yeah, this movie's pretty bad, but if you guys are familiar with how I am with B-movies, I generally like to give them a chance because there are low-budget movies out there that can still be good, or at the very least memorable. But this seems to be a special case. When I think of B-movies, I think of things like Age of Dinosaurs, Area 407, Triassic World, movies that are presenting themselves as serious and expect you as the audience to take them seriously, when you know it's gonna be a train wreck. But that train wreck is just so fun to watch that you just sometimes end up enjoying yourself. Whether it's the absurdity of the plot, or the horrible acting, or whatever, something about B-movies are just a guilty pleasure for many people. But like I said, this one is a bit different. In the case of Jurassic Thunder, it seems that they have completely dropped the act of trying to be a movie with a plot you're expected to take seriously, and rather just make something completely crazy and ridiculous. Throughout the movie, it almost presents itself in a way where you're supposed to take it seriously, but really the whole movie is just satirical and comedic. So from here, the question is, did they execute their satire well, and was it actually funny? To be completely honest with you, no, it didn't. It almost felt like the comedy was forced and the jokes were just cop-outs. Rather than doing anything funny, the comedic parts are executed mostly, if not only, through the dialogue, and a lot of it was just overused jokes about Donald Trump.
Hey, can you adjust the color on that thing, please?
It's already adjusted, sir.
Am I on?
What? That's the actual color,
Okay.
sir.
I will admit this one genuinely got me laughing pretty hard at first, but looking back on it, it's nothing more than an old joke that was probably the only real reason why Donald Trump was in this movie at all. So yeah, the movie tries really hard to be funny, but it tries too hard and just results in jokes and presidential stereotypes that don't land all the way. But surely the plot would be kind of interesting for a B-movie, right? When it comes to B-movies, literally anything can happen. I mean, they made a movie centered around a paranormal shark, and zombie beavers, and clown tornadoes. When I mean anything can happen in these types of movies, I really mean it. So what is Jurassic Thunder's plot? It revolves around a general who has to find a way to prevent World War III, and does this by having Russians use weaponized dinosaurs that are totally not Indominus Rexes and use them against the enemies. Also, zombies are somehow incorporated into this movie, but I don't really see a point with them since they're pretty much ignored for the majority of the film. Now, this may be because I've seen more ridiculous concepts brought to life on screen, but the plot really doesn't strike me as crazy or over the top, and it doesn't really cross any boundaries, as B-movies are notorious for doing. Instead, this feels like a mixture of them trying to have a crazy and over-the-top story that's just not executed well, and a ripoff of the Jurassic franchise. Also, the overall story in this universe doesn't even really exist, but rather it's told from the perspective of some fat neckbeard running a comic book store that's trying to impress a couple of future Karens by showing them this shitty comic called Jurassic Thunder. And what's within the comic is the actual movie, and that's how they explain it, basically. But none of this is relevant because we never even see these people again, so whatever. And going back to what I said earlier, certain parts of this movie were ripped off of Jurassic Park and World, but that's a given. At this point, it's just natural to use something Jurassic Park or World related into your dinosaur movie and not make it subtle at all that you're ripping it off. And I figured if a movie like this did do that, then they would execute it in a way that's comical, and in some parts they do, but in others it just seems downright unnecessary and stupid, and it doesn't even add anything to the movie at all. Not even in terms of comedy. It's just kind of there. It's pointless. So yeah, the parts of the movie that actually had the potential to be crazy, fun, comical, or memorable were pretty lame, and it's hard to blame the producers for that. I mean, these previous B-movies have set the bar so high in terms of ridiculous and crazy ideas and concepts that other movies like this just look like any other normal shitty B-movie. And they really could have done something with this, especially with the incorporation of zombies and warlords on top of their weaponized copy-pasted Indominus Rex dinosaurs, but the zombies are just ignored and the warlords are just mocked like Donald Trump, and that's all this movie feels like it is, just a mockery of people and nothing more. And of the scenes they did show of the zombies and dinosaurs doing anything were just plain boring. I figured if anything they would be funny, shitty scenes, but they just ended up being shitty. And things just kind of spiraled into a chaotic mess towards the end, and everything just stopped making sense. To be fair, things didn't make a whole lot of sense from the start, but the ending of the movie felt so abrupt, it made me realize that everything about it was just so forgettable. I don't think I could actually tell you what happened in the final scenes of this movie because a bunch of random things just happen, and on top of that, we're introduced to more characters that are just as forgettable as the ones we're already supposed to know. The plot was pretty garbage, even for a B-movie. So yeah, the things that were supposed to hold up this shit movie just fall flat as the jokes that are told by the characters. Everything else of this movie is obviously garbage. The whole movie is just characters in front of green screens that are used horribly and bad CGI dinosaurs. The acting is bad, but at least it's in a way that's laughable. It's just fun to watch, and there were some parts where the actors genuinely looked like they were trying, but that doesn't mean they didn't fail. But hey, A for effort. For the most part, the acting was entertaining to watch, especially for whoever played Donald Trump. Not only did they have to keep up with that horrible voice, but his dialogue was pretty entertaining to hear, and even though his jokes weren't any better than anyone else's in the movie, Trump in this movie is portrayed pretty accurately to his real-life counterpart. Because in this movie, Trump is just a massive idiot that doesn't know what he's doing, but just says random shit and gives out random orders and hopes things just end up working out. And everything that comes out of his mouth is just really dumb, and it's always funny to see that. Anyways, aside from him, no other character is memorable at all. I get it, it's a B-movie, it's not like any of these characters were made in a way to keep us invested into them, but what we're given just makes them completely boring and forgettable. But maybe it's for the best. The only personality that we get from these characters are from the jokes they tell. Like, there's a journalist in the movie that just makes a bunch of gay jokes, and that's about it. They aren't even really funny, but I think the bit is the fact that he keeps bringing up gay jokes. Either way, it's just not funny. And I get it, this movie is not really one to be taken seriously, so I know I shouldn't really be going on these tangents about what the movie did wrong, because at the end of the day, the whole point about this movie is how much low effort there is, and that's basically the joke of it. But with a movie that's going to be based purely on satire and is going to have some comedic effect to it, should at least put some effort in that if they're going to completely drop the effort on everything else. And I know that budget mainly plays a role in why there's low quality in movies like these, but like I said before, there have been low budget movies that have turned out pretty good, and I'm not talking about just the ones that are supposed to be funny or completely satirical. I'm talking about just any type of movie in general. I've seen YouTubers make skits of higher quality with less budget than whatever this movie had. You know, just because you have a low budget doesn't mean you can't make a good movie, and I'm not the kind of guy that expects the world from creators when it comes to making movies, because I know that a lot of the times you just have to work with what you have in order to make the product at all. And you know, I like how I've seen some projects before of people with no money making some pretty good stuff, and I have to say I've always been impressed by those people, and I've always admired their efforts in making whatever kind of movie they could with whatever resources they were given or had at hand. And even to those that didn't, worked mainly on the story itself or the writing or the dialogue and the characters, and they managed to redeem the movie through those efforts. And I gotta say, if this is a case for Jurassic Thunder, then I am very disappointed, because there is really no redeeming aspect to this movie at all. I can't really find one, because in my personal opinion, not only did they drop the efforts in literally everything in terms of quality with the plot, the dinosaurs, the characters themselves, but even the writing and the dialogue are just kind of boring and bland, and you know, again, like I said earlier, they just tell jokes that just fall flat and hard. It's just not funny at all. But comedy and humor is subjective, and this is just my personal opinion, so maybe somebody else found this funny. Personally, for me, it's not like I was expecting anything grand from this movie, because, you know, obviously it's called Jurassic Thunder, and after seeing the trailer, obviously it wasn't really going to offer anything too epic or amazing or something that's totally crucial or would leave a mark in the history of filmmaking. But I was kind of expecting it to, at the very least, be something funny and crazy and stupid but fun. You know, that's kind of what I expect from these B-movies, and like I said earlier, B-movies are just a guilty pleasure for most people, including myself. And, you know, if I'm gonna watch a B-movie, I know that in terms of quality and logic, everything is just gonna be dropped and completely ignored. So all they have left is to try to entertain us, and by doing that, they just do a bunch of really weird and ridiculous and stupid things, but all of it also ends up just being funny and fun to watch. I don't know, there's just some sort of entertainment to watching these stupid plots play out, in ways that are just completely illogical. But yeah, I don't have much else to say about this movie. I feel weird giving it a score out of 10 because first off, this doesn't even really feel like a movie. Like I said before, I've seen YouTubers with lower budget than whoever created this steaming pile of shit make much better quality videos. Second off, I feel like giving it a score out of 10 would indicate that I'm taking this review more seriously than I should, since the movie I'm covering is a movie about weaponized dinosaurs being used to prevent World War III in a zombie-infested world. But fuck it, I'll give it a 1 out of 10. The only redeemable parts of this movie are pretty shit themselves, so if they're shit, then that should say enough about the rest of this film for you to get an idea of how it is. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this little 4th of July special. I want to do more of these movie reviews, so I'll try to do them more often. In fact, I've got my Mammoth review that I've been meaning to do for a while now, so that'll be the next dinosaur movie review here on the channel. But if you guys have any more suggestions, then go down to the Discord that I have with my other dino YouTuber friends and suggest them to me there. Anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say for now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please, have a nice day.